Hello and welcome to this edition of Firebird Nation Sports Update. I'm your host, Eric Zedalis. In this episode, I introduce the UDC 6th Annual Hall of Fame induction class, and then we go right into my interviews with members of the men's basketball team, the women's basketball team, and head coach of the women's track and field team, Phillip. We begin with my introduction of the 6th Annual Hall of Fame induction class. The University of the District of Columbia is proud to announce its 6th Annual Hall of Fame induction class. The event will be held at the Student Center on February 24th at 6 p.m. First member of that class is Stanley Black of District of Columbia Teachers College, class of 1969. Stanley Black was a 4-year men's basketball student athlete at DC Teachers College and graduated in 1969. He was the 1969 Reslin W. Henley Award winner. A 4-year starter for the basketball team, he led the team to 3 straight conference championships. He averaged 15 points and 18 rebounds per game in 1967 and was the nation's top rebounder that season. He was also team captain for the 1967-68 season and named Man of the Year by the Phi Beta Sigma fraternity in 1967-68 as well. Next is Adrian Dixon, University of the District of Columbia head track and field coach from 1977 to 1981. During his tenure at UDC, Dixon coached All-American and UDC Hall of Famer Liz Young McNair and Carolyn Brinkley. He also coached the Olympic Sports Festival team in 1988 and was an assistant on the Olympic team in 1980. Dixon also started the girls track and field program at Coolidge High School, where he coached girls and boys for over 30 years and won over 60 championships in cross-country and indoor and outdoor track and field. Next, we have Donald Huff, a sports information director and District of Columbia Teachers College, class of 1968. While a student and later as a graduate of District of Columbia Teachers College, Donald Huff served as the men's basketball team scorekeeper and statistician from 1963 to 1973. During that time, DC Teachers College never had a losing season and captured 6 MIC and PIC championships. After his work at DCTC, Huff became the first black high school sports reporter hired by the Washington Post. He worked for the Post for 23 years, where he did such a stellar job bringing a focus to area high school athletics that the paper created an award named in his honor, the Donald Huff Award, to recognize contributions made to local athletics by individuals who are often rarely credited for their efforts. Upon retiring from the Post, Huff came to UDC, where he served as sports information director and later became the school's athletic director. Next is Ralph Neal, District of Columbia Teachers College, class of 1963, and head football coach. Ralph Neal was the head football coach for 1 season, 1971, and assistant football coach for 2 seasons, 1969 and 1970. As head coach, Neal turned a struggling football program into a winning program with a 5-3 record in 1971. He is a 1963 graduate of DCTC with a degree in health and physical education, and he received his master's degree in 1970 from George Washington University. Next is Bradford Tatum, Minor Teachers College, class of 1942, and a basketball and swimming student athlete. Prior to MTC, he was the Life Saving Trials Junior Champion twice in 1933 and the Senior Champion in 1936. He also won ribbons for 2nd and 3rd place in various events at the Howard DC Rec meet in 1936. Upon graduation from minors, Tatum served in the U.S. Army in World War II on the European front at the height of the fiercest fighting from 1942 to 45. When he returned home from the war, he earned his master's degree in elementary education at New York University, and he came back to Washington, D.C., where he enjoyed a terrific 33-year teaching and administrative career in education. He also went on to compete in the Senior Olympics in 2003, 2008, and 2011, despite battling cancer, and he won a total of 6 gold medals, 3 silver medals, and 1 bronze medal, while also setting 2 records. first is my interview with head track and field coach Phillip. We talk about how the season has gone so far and how they plan on preparing for the end of the season and the ECC championship meet. All right, Joel, give me your overall impressions of how the season's going so far.
So far, the season has been going, pretty good. Coming from the first meet, we did pretty well. Some of the athletes had their best ever performance in the first meet for the season, so that was pretty good. Coming up the break, some of the athletes came back rusty. Some are rustier than expected, but I think they competed, and we tried our best. The third meet was really good out there in Ocean Breeze. A lot of the athletes didn't just compete, but they ran season best times. Some people had personal best times. So we've been doing pretty good so far for the season.
So overall, you're seeing improvement.
Yes, I mean some meets we have improvements. Other meets some athletes don't perform as well as they should. And that's expected sometimes. Not every day or every meet. Everyone will compete at their best. But they're showing signs of getting better. Even in practice. A lot of the freshmen, they're picking up a lot of the new stuff that they're learning. So it's been going pretty good. From my expectations.
Okay. Who have been some of your standout performers?
Okay. Well, I'll start with Naija Harden. She has been competing pretty hard. She's been putting in a lot of hard work in practice, so her 400s times have been dropping. Last meet she didn't really have a good meet, but she has been progressing pretty good during the season. Senior Brittany Ocon has been doing pretty well as in the long jump as well. So those two are, I would say, our top two performers. I would also like to add in Tamara Duncan, who has also been performing pretty good for the season.
Also a freshman.
Also a freshman.
Right. Who have been some of your surprise performers?
To be honest, I really haven't had any surprise performers. Just looking at the way they put the work in practice, I expect them to really go out and perform. So I'm not really surprised by anyone, but I'm just happy to see the way we're actually competing.
Right. You mentioned some of your top performers are freshmen. How have they made the adjustment to college life and being a student athlete?
I think it's been, a big change for them. Some are handling it, better than others, but it's never an easy transition, coming from high school into, in college, especially for those athletes that we have who are international students. I myself was an international student, so, making a transition from the different way school is done in the Caribbean versus the way they go about doing school here. It's a big change, but they have been handling it pretty well from what I could see, and I think they're doing good.
Okay, and who have you seen step up as leaders of this team? Some of the upperclassmen, maybe.
I would say like Stacey Enro. She has stepped up as one of the leaders on the team. Even Naija, has stepped up, and taken charge at times. So it's not just one or two particular people, but at times you have different of the young ladies who will step up and take charge and lead the group.
Right. What are your hopes for the rest of this season?
For the rest of the season, I think that we want to go into conference and compete hard. To say that we would try to go to get win the championship,
against the likes of a Roberts Wesleyan,
or who has a more team with depth compared to what we have. But to say we will go and win a championship, I don't see it happening. But
how many on your roster?
We currently have 13 on our roster.
Okay, and a team like Roberts Wesleyan,
and they have over 20 athletes. So it's a far stretch, but by competing and with the talent that we have, the versatility of the talent that we have, I think we could at least get in the top 3 in conference.
What in the future are you guys going to have to do to compete with a team like a Roberts Wesleyan?
To be honest, we have to bring in a lot more athletes. Like right now, having 13 athletes, that really won't cut it. Especially with the events, that is there in conference. We only have athletes basically, sprints, jumps, and the throws. And to be able to compete for a championship, we need athletes who in the mid distance, those events to kind of give us a better spread over the event so that we're able to compete for our championship.
Yeah, I mean, this program, you've been dominant in the sprints. Long before you even got here. This is your first year. Is that going to be an emphasis on your recruiting? Is recruiting those distance runners and some of those field events?
But yeah, that's going to be part of my recruiting. I mean, I like the sprints, so I mean that's going to be a big
sprinter
thing here.
Yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's going to be a big thing here. But getting in some more, distance athletes, probably some more throwers, jumpers. That's big on my priority list, so that we're able to compete, type of conference and that.
Do you see any of your individual athletes potentially making the NCAAs for indoor or even outdoor?
At this point, for indoors, do I have athletes that are talented to get there? Yes, I do. But to see them making it indoors this year, I don't think so.
Just not enough time?
Yeah, there's not enough time.
Okay.
But as far as outdoors, we're actually, putting in the work now and making the preparations now to, guide them to, hopefully make it into outdoors for NCAA championships.
Okay. And in your opinion, is this team enjoying the season? Are they having fun?
I mean, for the most part, they're having fun. Any athlete will get frustrated, when you go to a meet and you don't do as well as you expected. And what I try to emphasize for them is that, especially at practice, because some of them get frustrated in their practice as well, I try to emphasize that, that's what practice is for.
Right.
Practice is there to make mistakes so that we could correct those mistakes, so that when we go to a meet, we're able to, do things the way we're supposed to do them. So they're having fun, but there are those times where, they will get frustrated because, they're not doing something right.
Right. And they're overcoming adversity too. I noticed at the last meet, the 4x400 meter relay team, your first leg runner had to pull up because of a heel injury or calf injury.
Yeah.
So they're dealing with adversity even in the meets.
Yes.
Talk about what that's like as a runner.
Sometimes it could be heartbreaking. For me, last meet, I was looking forward to that 4x4 because, from watching them at practice and the way they competed over the past couple of meets, you could tell they themselves were, looking forward to that 4x4. And to see Tamara pull up, it was a little bit heartbreaking, but, that's something in our sport that we have to deal with. We can't dwell on it. It happened last weekend, so for the next meet, we don't think about it. We just go forward and push for the next meet.
And you're excited about what they can do in the future?
Yeah, I'm very excited. We have a talented group, a very talented group, especially in the freshman class. So just, very excited to see what they will do and what they will evolve into over the next couple of weeks.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. The men's basketball team is among the top teams in the ECC standings heading down the stretch. I recently sat down with upperclassmen players Kasim Chandler and Traevon Butler to discuss their goals for the rest of the season. All right, I'm here with junior guard Traevon Butler and senior guard Kasim Chandler. Guys, as it stands right now, you're very well positioned to make the ECC playoffs, maybe even earn a 1 or a 2 seed, which would mean a first round bye in the playoffs and an automatic in the semifinals of the tournament. What's the mood of the team right now, and do you guys feel like, are you excited just to be where you're at, or is there a sense that there's some unfinished business still? We'll start with Traevon.
Yeah, I feel like we have a unfinished business type of attitude because the conference we play in, we can't just take breaks, Every game is a tough game, especially when you're at the top, you have the target on your back, so you got to come ready to play every night.
Sim, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, same what Traevon said. I feel like we can't just get complacent and feel comfortable where we at. We just gotta keep going out and just bringing it every game. We're being hunted, so we have to come out and play. every game.
Now, you're over 500 right now, and if it stands that way, this will be the second straight year that you guys are over 500. Now, Traevon, you were here, this is your third year, so you were here when the team was still struggling.
Right.
How have you been so successful these last 2 years?
I'd say, particularly in the league, because of our team scouting report, like Coach Stokes and Coach Yachts, they do a very specific scouting report on the team. They have our team victories. I mean, our
Keys to victory.
Yeah, keys to victory, which is like what the team needs to do as a whole. And then they have each player that comes in the game and they break them down well in their tendencies. So I feel like that's what's helping us the most, along with our talent that we have.
Okay. And Kasim, what would you say are the team's strengths?
The team's strength, definitely we got a lot of talent. Our strength is running, getting in the open floor and running. We like to push the ball and just speed guys up.
Now, what would you both say is the team's Achilles heel? I mean, what is your weakness? What's going to prevent you from winning the conference and going to that NCAA tournament?
I feel like our weakness right now is defense. We can become more better on the defensive end, and a little bit of facing adversity when we go down or whatever, or times get rough. We gotta learn how to stay together and just fight back. Because a lot of our games we've been down and dealt with a lot of adversity, and we pulled off a lot of tough wins at some home games. So I feel like that's our weakness right now.
Okay. Now, speaking of adversity, a lot of your remaining games are going to be on the road. Now, you guys like playing at home. You've done very well there. You've lost all but 2 of your home games this year. On the road, it's been a little bit of a different story. Now, like I said, a lot of your remaining games are on the road, and if you're to make it to the ECC tournament, you're going to be playing not here like it was last year, but at the University of Bridgeport.
Yeah.
What do you guys have to do to overcome the challenges of playing on the road and so far away from the District of Columbia?
Yeah, I think our main focus is just staying together as a team. No matter what the situation is, we just got to stick together the entire time. Because we have the talent. We just need to make sure we stay together and believe in everyone on the team, and then I think we'll be all right.
Sim?
Say what Traevon said. I think we just have to stick together. We know everyone on the road is different. We only got ourselves, so it's just like adversity, is facing adversity. You just got one game at a time, just stick it out.
Now, you've got a few more home games left. Talk about what it's like to play at home. What is it a psychological edge to play here?
This year has been very fun to play at home. We had some nice crowds. The students been getting involved. It feels like home games. So it's just been very exciting to just come out and play at home. Like last year, it didn't feel like that all the time, but we get a lot of energy at home, and it just get the juices going and get us going.
Okay. Traevon, what's your dream scenario for how this season finishes out?
My dream would be, winning our conference and going far in the playoffs all the way to the national tournament, as far as we could go. So
and do you think you guys can do it?
Yeah, I definitely think we could do it. We definitely have the talent. So, yeah, I believe we can.
What's going to be the key to accomplishing all those goals?
The key? I think really our main key is just sticking together, really. Because we've been facing adversity, and sometimes we pull through, sometimes we don't. So we just got to make sure we pull through each time if we are facing adversity. So. Okay.
Now, Kasim, you're a senior. You played 2 years here at UDC. You came from Quinnipiac College. You're a 1,000-point scorer for your career. How do you want to be remembered at UDC?
I just want to be remembered as someone who earned all accomplishments I have. Nothing was really given to me. I just want to be remembered as that kid who you just come around, you could tell anything to, or just like I bring energy around people. So I just want to be remembered as a good person. just pretty much someone who just gave good vibes when you was around him, and that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I think you're well on your way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you guys the rest of the way.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Next is my interview with freshman women's basketball player Tyra Coombs. Tyra talks about the chemistry on the team and how she and her freshman classmates have grown together. All right, Tyra, so the team may have fallen short in what it wanted to accomplish in terms of wins and losses this year, but what are some of the positives that you can take away from how the season's gone thus far?
I would say some of the positives would be that I just feel like we've grown as a team, and I just feel like this is the most the best team I've ever been on. Like, just we all know each other, we know each other's personnel, we know how to push each other to the best we can be pushed, and I feel like we can only go up from here.
Okay. You've only got 9 on the roster, and lately you've only had about 6 available players during any game. That means only 1 substitute. Talk about the difficulty of having to play with that lack of depth on the bench.
I feel like everyone just they have to just control their energy, don't put it all on the floor. We have to know that we need to go as hard as we can and then ask for a sub. We can't just give our all and then be dead.
Right, so
we know we
play
have
in
to.
a controlled kind of manner. I see. Okay, now one positive you could take from this is that with this lack of depth on the bench, a lot of you freshmen like yourself have gotten to play a lot of minutes. Talk about what it's been like to be able to make an impact in your first year.
It's definitely a dream come true. I never expected it, so I think it'll only help the freshmen that we have be better when we are a senior or a junior, because we'll have that experience under our belt, which I think is awesome, and I am very appreciative.
Right. Okay, so now you guys have been very competitive even in losses. One game that stands out to me is the LIU post overtime loss by 1 point. One of the best games I've seen in this gym in a long time. Obviously, the star in that game was Chantrell Oliver, 36 points,
Right.
a career high. You had a good game yourself. You had 6 rebounds and a steal off the bench. Talk about what it was like to play in a game like that competitive and with a great atmosphere like it was that night.
I think every home game is we always compete. I just feel like even though we're maybe expected to lose, we never give up. We go in and we just never back down. And I feel like that game I will always remember as well.
You talk about there's sometimes an expectation that you're going to lose. Do you guys feel like you're going to lose?
I don't know. We don't. We never go in thinking we're going to win. We're always looking to upset every game we go into.
Okay. You're a part of a batch of talented freshmen. You've got the White sisters, Bianca and Bailey, and then you've got Kayla Cooper and yourself. Talk about how you guys have grown together this year.
We all look at each other. Anytime we're in halftime, we look at each other and we say, what can we do better? And I feel like we all just know where we need to get to be successful on this basketball team. So I think everyone has grown from the first time we played open gym here, and I think we're just going to continue to grow.
That's good. Talk about the 2 seniors on the team. You've got Chantrell Oliver, Jaslyn Rollins. What kind of leadership have they provided?
They are both amazing on and off the basketball floor. I've never felt a connection like I do as a freshman and to seniors like I do with them. I feel like they both lead by example extremely well, and I just enjoy playing with them.
What would you say is your hope for the rest of this season?
My hope would be to try our best to just get better and just keep pushing to win as much as we can. I feel like we still have an opportunity to make the tournament, and that's what we're looking to do.
And talk about some of your opponents coming up. What do you guys need to do specifically to be in some more of these games?
I feel like it starts with defense. We need to be as motivated to play defense as we are to score the ball. And when we buckle down and agree to play defense as hard as we look to score, we'll be great.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you so much.
All right. that's all the time we have for this episode. Be sure to check out all the Firebird action on our website, udcfirebirds.com, and our social media accounts, Facebook, UDC Athletics, Twitter at UDC Athletics, Instagram at UDC Athletics, and YouTube, UDC Athletics 1. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.